I'm back in one of my favorite places on earth. Welcome to Jordan. It's almost midnight, and you can probably tell by this hair that I have been frantically prepping for my trip to Jordan, and I leave tomorrow. But it doesn't matter how tired I am or how much is left on my to-do list, because I was serious when I said that Jordan is one of my favorite places on earth. I actually lived in Jordan for about 2.5 years in a previous life when I was a diplomat and I was working at the US Embassy there. And I had such an incredible time. I made great friends, and it really changed my life. So since then, every single time I've had the chance to go back, I am there. This time, I'm headed to Jordan with the National Tourism Board and United Airlines on a press trip, and it feels like a really full circle moment to go back to Jordan for my new job, this job. Jordan is a place that I truly love, that I think is really, really special, and I'm so excited to experience it yet again, this time as a tourist. Let me take you along with me. So, on very little sleep, I made my way to Dulles, and then from there, direct to Amman on United Airlines. So this press trip was organized in coordination with United to showcase their direct route from DC to Jordan, and let me tell you, this is how I like to fly. This route is new. I think it debuted in 2022, and I've already taken it multiple times. You get on one 10-hour direct flight, and then boom, you're there. So in Dulles, I hit the Polaris Lounge quickly, United's premier lounge for business class travelers on international flights, and then I made my way onto the plane. And pro tip, I found that by being strategic and sticking to a home airline to build status, and then using miles or cash to pay for upgrades when available, I can usually fly business class relatively frequently without paying full price. But for this trip, I was happy to let someone else coordinate this for me. And then after dinner on the flight, I got some very good sleep on that lay flat seat. And when I woke up, I refreshed using the Therabody amenity kit that they gave us, and I had a quick breakfast, and then we landed at Queen Alia International Airport, the primary airport in Jordan. So FYI, I've flown in and out of this airport many times over the years, and the Wi-Fi works well. The signage is clear and everything is well marked. There's ATMs in the terminal, and once you exit, you head straight outside to the official taxi stand to snag a taxi with a fixed rate. So the cost is predetermined and it just depends on where you're going. It's a really easy place to transit, and the airport is about 30 minutes outside of the capital city. Anyway, I met up with the other participants on this press trip at the airport, hopped into the group van, and y'all, we made it.
أهلاً وسهلاً بالأردن.
Welcome to Jordan.
Welcome to Jordan.
Welcome to Jordan.
And of course, our first stop in Jordan was Amman, the capital city. So when you talk about visiting Jordan, most people immediately think of Petra and Wadi Rum. And yes, both are musts while you're in Jordan, but I personally think you shouldn't sleep on the capital. Almost half of the country's population lives in the city of Amman, so there's a lot to explore. Let me take you through what we hit this trip.
There is nothing like that first real meal when you get off a plane. So we made it to Amman, and our first dinner was, of course, at Hashem's. This place is an institution, this restaurant, downtown Amman, that serves local food. They've been serving here since 1952. And it doesn't matter what time of day you come here, it is always busy. Let's eat.
Hashem's is right in the middle of the Beled, or the Old City, and a lot of the seating is open air, but this time we did snag a table indoors, and it was great. The menu is vegetarian. A typical meal there includes falafel, which is a fritter made from chickpeas or sometimes other beans, depending on where you are, bread, a selection of dips and spreads, and tea.
We got stuffed falafel. Let's see what the inside looks like. The falafel here are always super fresh, and you can see it's hot and steamy. And this one is stuffed with, it looks like onions and sumac in that central layer. Oh my God. I'm so happy to be back in Jordan.
And of course, we had to have some sweets.
Okay, so just down the street from Hashem is another spot that opened in Amman in the 1950s, Habiba. So Habiba is famous for their kanafa. Kanafa is a dessert made and served throughout the Middle East that typically has a sweet syrup, some sort of dough or pastry, and cheese. And part of the reason why Habiba is so popular is, yes, it opened in 1951, but also the founder of Habiba originally made kanafa in Nablus. And though the origins of kanafa are debated, whether it's Turkish or it's Egyptian or it's from Palestine, Nablus is probably the most recognizable place where kanafa is made. Nablusi kanafa is supposed to be amazing, so that's part of the lore of Habiba, and we're about to have some right now. This is kanafa nama, a type of kanafa that is made with, yes, cheese and sweet syrup, but this one is made with semolina. This is one of the two most common types of kanafa you'll find here in Jordan. Ooh, and here we have the second popular type of kanafa that you'll find commonly in Jordan. This is khushna, so it's made with cheese and sweet syrup, but this one is made with phyllo dough instead of semolina.
Okay, so I am obsessed with cheese to begin with, but I don't think I've ever had like a cheese dessert. That is like sweets and cheese combined in like a nutty, flavorful goodness. I don't even know if I can describe it.
Look at what's happening right now, friends. This is what press trips are like.
We also did more than just eat, I promise, though the food in Jordan is so good. The next day, we actually took one of my favorite walking tours, the underground Amman street art tour.
So thank you so much for joining me. My name is Alauddin, and I do this underground Amman tour. We highlight the street art in Jordan. I think not many people expect to find street art and hip hop scene in Jordan. So I'm actually one of the first graffiti writers, and also I'm a professional dancer. I do breakdance, hip hop, and contemporary. Yeah, and in my breakdance career, I won some big competitions worldwide, and also I joined big movies. Yeah. I was in Star Wars. Yeah, the last one, The Rise of Skywalker. Part of it was recorded here in Jordan, so I had the honor to work with them for 1 month in Wadi Rum. Yeah, on a dancing scene. Yes. Yeah, but in the movie you can't see my face because I'm alien creature. Yeah. For me, I started doing hip hop and street art back in 2004. In 2004, I was 14 years old. And I usually say that growing up here at that time, it was very difficult and it wasn't the healthiest situation, especially for young people to grow up in. Because in 2004, it was after the Iraqi war, Intifada, and so many things were happening. And as well, I grew up in a Palestinian refugee camp here in Amman. So life was not easy. Yeah? And one day I was going back home after the school, and my parents watched the news. And in the news, they put the news about hip-hop concert in New York. And it was for head spin world record. Yeah, so they were breaking, like who's gonna break the world record spinning on their head. So for me, when I saw that, it was the first time ever to see this beautiful breakdance moves, the colors behind them and the music. So it really attracted me into it, but I had no idea what was that. And after a few months, I was more lucky because we had a friend coming from Dubai to visit his family in our neighborhood. And this guy, he was a hip hop artist. So he came to our neighbor and he started showing me and all the kids in the neighbor some breakdance moves. And he told us a little bit about it. But he only stayed for 1 week, so we could not really learn from him. Before he left, he gave us a videotape for another hip-hop concert, so we start watching this videotape like every day. All the kids in the neighbor, we start trying to copy what we watch by ourselves. And this is why I usually say that you will find hip-hop and street art here in Jordan are a little bit different than anywhere else. Because at the beginning we interpreted it in our way and we added our touch into it. Cool? And by the way, in Jordan, it's good to know that about 70% of street artists are actually women. Cool?
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So let's go.
I love this tour. Alauddin is so dynamic. He beatboxes. He breakdances. He knows so much history and detail behind the street art you see throughout the city of Amman.
You walk around the city, you're gonna find this watermelon now. It's spreading all around the city. And it's done by actually a Filipino local artist. He called himself Snarf. And I think in solidarity with the Palestinian case, he started painting the watermelons all around the city, where it represents the Palestinian flag, because it has the same colors of the Palestinian flag, yeah? So when you walk in Jordan, look out for these watermelons. You're gonna find them all around the city.
No, is it because like they weren't supposed to carry the flag? And
Yeah.
is it something like this?
Yeah. So they were banned to raise the Palestinian flag. So instead, people start raising the watermelons.
He explains how the art throughout the city discusses social and political issues.
Yeah, so this beautiful piece here, it was painted in 2018 by the Orinda tribe shop here at Al Manara Cafe. And they called this piece Unity in Diversity. And they wanted to show the diversity that we have here in Jordan, because Jordan is considered as one of the most welcoming countries for refugees. The population now in Jordan is around 12 million people, but in fact there is around 5 million Palestinians or from Palestinian roots, like me. There's also 1.5 million Syrian. There's 800,000 Iraqis.
And this tour is just a really cool way to see a different side of the city. We also got to hit up a spot that was new to me, at least I'd never been to their tasting room before, the JR Wine Experience.
I'm Faris Haddad. I'm a third generation family member running the Haddad Estates and Vineyards. You're watching or witnessing here the modern history of winemaking in Jordan. And this is a story that's told over 3 generations. And we're on a desert terroir, planting over 40 different types of grape varieties to see what would work in the soil. And we have beautiful wines for you to try and to experience with us. Welcome to the JR Wine Experience.
This was such a cool experience. It was really nice to sit with the group and have time to get to know each other better and sip wine and challenge our conceptions of the Middle East and of Jordan, because a lot of the group had never thought of wine when they thought of Jordan. All in all, we just had a really good night, and I definitely recommend this spot if you have time while you're in Amman. There is also a lot to do in the city that we didn't get to hit this trip. I've detailed my favorites on my website, and I've linked that post in the caption, but it was time. We had to leave the city to see what else we could get into. One of our first stops was about 2 hours north of Amman.
So I'm standing in Qais, in the northwestern corner of Jordan. This is the site of the ruins of the ancient Hellenistic city of Gadara, and also the remnants of an Ottoman-era village.
So we toured the ruins at Qais with our guide Ahmed, who was actually born there, and his family lived on the site until 1987 when the government purchased it to turn it into a cultural site. And now Ahmed operates tours right there where he used to play hide and seek as a child. So not only are the ruins gorgeous and fascinating, but when you're at Qais, you can see 3 countries from there. Syria, Israel, and Palestine are all visible at once. So we took some time to soak it all in, and then after our tour, we made our way to a home for a cooking class. We took a class with a local woman named Galsoum, who was so sweet and welcoming. And she showed us how to make khoubeze, a dish made with a local plant that tastes similar to spinach. And of course, that's not all we had a feast, and it was all so good. FYI, you can book this tour and the cooking class through Petra Destinations, which focuses on community-based tourism experiences. And this made a really fabulous day trip from Amman, and then we spent one more night in the city before we headed south. God, I love Jordan. First stop, Mount Nebo and Madaba, about an hour from Amman. Mount Nebo is where Moses is said to have seen the Promised Land, and it's believed that he died and was buried in the area, though the exact location of the burial site is unknown. So we visited Mount Nebo and we took in the view. And we also visited the Moses Memorial Church, which houses some of the best preserved mosaics in Jordan dating to around 530. It's breathtaking to see the details that have been preserved, and the church structure is really well designed so you can walk around and sometimes over the mosaics without touching them to get the full experience. Then we headed down the road to Jordan Jewel Art and Mosaic. So this whole area is known for its mosaics, and this shop has a free training program for locals to help preserve the art form and provide employment to folks in rural areas. You can watch the mosaics being made by their artisans, and you can buy mosaics which they can ship home to you. This shop shipped over 1,000 mosaics to the US last year, and I was so tempted. I almost dropped $1,000 on a mosaic that I loved, but I'm trying to be responsible, so I just browsed. After our mosaic stop, we went a few more minutes down the road into the town of Madaba. There we had lunch at a restaurant called Haret Jadudna. It's in a gorgeous 19th century house. You can sit in the garden area, and the food is so good. This was a staple stop when I used to live in Jordan as well, and I'm glad to see that this place has stood the test of time. And then after lunch, we also visited St. George's Church, home to a mosaic that is the oldest map of the Holy Land. The church is being renovated at the moment, but we still stopped for a peek, and then it was time to continue making our way south. Next stop, Petra, about 3 hours further south.
Welcome to Petra, one of the new 7 wonders of the world.
Petra is an ancient city and trading center founded more than 2,000 years ago, famous for its structures carved into the rocks, an ancient water conduit system that you can still see as you walk along, and for the rose color of the rocks. It's a must visit in Jordan for good reason, and though we spent only one day there, I know folks who went for 2 or 3 or even 4 days exploring and still didn't see everything. And pro tip from someone who's been there more than a dozen times, wear comfy clothes and shoes because a visit to the site likely involves a lot of walking, easily more than 8 or 10 miles in one day. And we had a classic, long but incredible day at Petra. We entered through the front and walked through the Siq, a rock canyon with walls more than 180 meters high in some places that opens up to the treasury, an iconic viewpoint that peeks out as you walk up to it. From there, we continued to explore, eventually climbing the 850 steps up to the monastery, another iconic structure where I was so happy to rest my feet for a little bit at the cafe at the top.
Let's do it, fam. We made it. Okay, so we're gonna come down these steps, and then once you're down, you're gonna turn the corner to the right. You'll see, just 1 second. Bear with me, I'm out of breath. This little cafe, and then, boom.
And even though I've been to Petra many times, it's still awe-inspiring, and I'm glad I did it again. And our group did well on time. We made it out mid-afternoon, and then we headed from Petra to a cooking class at Petra Kitchen up the street. I highly recommend doing this class in Petra if you have time. It was really fun, the food we made was fabulous, and to be honest, I'm not a fan of most of the restaurants that are around Petra, so this is one of the better meal options available if you're in the area. It's an ideal way to end a very long day. And the next day, we made our way to Wadi Rum, about an hour-and-a-half drive from Petra.
Welcome to Wadi Rum.
Wadi Rum is at the western edge of the Arabian Desert and happens to be my personal favorite place in Jordan. No trip there is complete, in my opinion, without spending at least one night in the desert. The landscape is majestic, with huge rock formations and sand dunes that are a red color from iron oxide, ancient petroglyphs marking the presence of humans there for many centuries, and Bedouin tribes are still working and living there. We took a tour with Yanal, a local guide who arranged for us to explore in 4x4s, and we had an incredible day soaking up some sun, feeling the wind on our faces, stopping for tea and seeing sites where movies were filmed, and our guides even cooked us lunch using freshly grown local vegetables. What a perfect way to unplug, and I'll put Yanal's info in the caption as well. But really, is there anything better than this?
I love it.
After an incredible night in Wadi Rum, we headed about an hour south to Aqaba, a port city at the tip of the Red Sea. And what a day this was. We spent an afternoon on a boat, snorkeling and swimming and just playing in the blue, clear water.
Come on!
We had an amazing lunch on the boat as well. The crew grilled fish for us right in front of us there, and we fully let go of work and responsibilities for a while. I'll link in the caption our contact to book a boat day like this. After our time in Aqaba, we made our way north, making a 3+ hour drive to the Dead Sea. Now, if you're going to do a tour of Jordan like we did, the Dead Sea is a great final stop. Let me show you why. What better way to recuperate after bouncing around the country from north to south than some time at the Dead Sea? And this is one place where I think where you stay does matter. Because yes, you'll definitely want to soak in the mineral-rich waters of the Dead Sea, a salt lake 400 meters below sea level, and really just a wild sensory experience to feel how buoyant you are and how different the water feels. But also, Dead Sea resorts often have great spas, and after hiking Petra, getting sand everywhere at Wadi Rum, and then sea and salt in Aqaba, some pampering at a Dead Sea spa is really just what you need. At least it's what I needed. We stayed at the Kempinski and it was lovely, with incredible service and a spa that I could have stayed in for multiple days. And beyond our spa day, we spent a second day using the Kempinski as our base, and we explored some nearby sites. First, we went to Bethany Beyond Jordan, a UNESCO World Heritage Site where John the Baptist baptized Jesus. The Jordan River has shifted multiple times over the years, so the river itself is now a short walk from the baptism site, and we made that walk through this place of pilgrimage, which has also been visited by multiple popes. We saw Roman and Byzantine ruins, and took in the place where Christianity began. We also visited hot springs nearby for a nice soak. This was a nice slower moment to process everything we'd seen on this trip. Though in the summer months when it's open, I'd also say to hit up Wadi Mujib, which is nearby where you can walk through the water in the gorge there. It's a fun, active adventure and really beautiful. And finally, while I love Jordan, I wanted to get someone's take who hadn't been there before. So I asked Dakota, a photographer who came to Jordan for his very first visit on this press trip with us, for his take.
We made it.
It's the last night.
I know. Okay, so we're at the Dead Sea. We're at the Kempinski, this beautiful hotel. You floated in the Dead Sea in the rain.
I know.
It's been 9 days?
I think, yeah, tomorrow will be day 10, so yeah, 9 days.
Okay. This is like my 10th, 11th, 12th, maybe 15th trip to Jordan, but it's your first. So what are your first impressions of Jordan? You've never been here before. We took you all over the country from north to south. What do you think?
We like crammed the entire country into like 9 days, and I feel like we barely scratched the surface. Like every time we were in a location, I'm like, oh my gosh, I just want to see more. It baffles me that you've been here that many times. Like,
well, there's always more to see.
I get it now. I fully get it. When like we first were connecting at the beginning of the trip, and you said how many times you'd been here and you living here and coming back and this and that, I was like, wow, she's like really dedicated to this place.
She's like really obsessed with Jordan.
Yeah, and now I get it. I'm like, I'm already planning my next trip back.
What do you think people who've never been here before should know about coming here?
Oh man, the list of there's a couple of key things though, especially as like it being my first time. One, the hospitality in this country is unmatched.
Welcome to Jordan.
Oh my gosh, seriously, fast before you come here. And when they bring out food, it's not done. Don't think
it's
that
just the first course.
Don't
you have
think
to prepare for the second and the third and the dessert course and the coffee and the fruit course.
Oh my gosh, and they're gonna keep bringing it. Like they're gonna keep bringing it. That was so mind blowing. Like I was like, oh okay, this is like a cool meal, and then all of a sudden there's another course, and then another, and you're like, what? This isn't done. Like, so I think the hospitality is like unmatched compared to other countries that I've been to. This entire time, there's been nobody who's like made us feel like any type of unwelcome or like, I don't know. It's like hard to explain. It's just hospitality, like to a T.
I always say that to me, it seems that Jordanians, like when you come here, people are just really excited to see people enjoying their country.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that's kind of it. They just are like, oh, it's so cool that you flew all the way here.
Yeah.
To Jordan.
Absolutely. You feel so safe here. Like, and I know that sounds like silly to say, but like there's like this weird notion that like coming to this part of the Middle East isn't going to be safe. And like there's not been one time on this entire trip that anybody in our group has felt like any type of like being unsafe. Even walking around like with a language barrier, if they can't answer you in English, they're gonna find someone who will be able to answer you to help. They'll like all look at each other and be like, okay, someone can come figure this out.
That's the hospitality culture, right? Is that people, I find here, if there's a language barrier or they don't understand you, they don't get frustrated that you don't speak Arabic. They're just going to try to find a solution, which I think eases the path if you don't speak Arabic and have never been here before and you don't really know what you're getting yourself into. People are just going to try to find a solution for you.
Totally. And the people who like, and there's a huge portion of the population here that speaks English, like tons of people speak English, but like, and they all want to like speak English with you.
Yeah,
they want to practice. They want to talk to you. They want to come over and say hello and hi to you. And I think that's really beautiful and it's cool and it's like super unique.
So are you coming back to Jordan?
Oh my gosh, hands down. I might be back in June.
So he's coming back to Jordan, folks.
Literally, we're already working on planning our next trip back to Jordan.
I love it.
Thank you so much for watching, and if you've made it this far, don't forget to hit subscribe for more videos like this, exploring travel and food and so much more.